Place to Be Nation, welcome back to the great episode of the one and only Place to Be Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joshua Zero, coming at you on this Monday inside the PTBN / Nortel Connection Studios. Joining me, as always, is my PIC, Mr. Scott Criscolo. Scott, how are you in this new year of 2024?
Yes, JR. Amazing, huh? Amazing. Welcome, everyone, to episode 643 of the longest-running episodic motherfucking gold standard. We've had a great run with the new show. We hope you've been enjoying it. We had obviously Marcus Fuller on our last episode. Everything's been great, and then that, and now we
guess who's back.
We finally hit mediocrity after four episodes.
Well, we joked with Marcus, right? That you think Hampton would be like our 80th town? Like, oh, we're running out of towns. Let's do Hampton.
We have our 80th guest.
And I say now we're at our fourth. We're already at Duncan on our fourth episode. So we're tough start. We started with Chad. That was like a big get, and it's been shaky since.
I think I was starting to get back in your good graces. Then you guys came to Detroit, and we went to that GCW show, and I think we all got COVID in the worst. In Harpo's, the worst.
COVID might have been lucky
of the universe.
I would have preferred COVID, I think, to the heat stroke that I got in that
whatever was falling off the fucking.
I don't think
ceiling.
I've ever been that hot for that long.
Oh my god!
Disgusting. And the water was like $5. So I'm like, I'll die. I'll just.
Oh god!
It was
$13 Little Caesar slices.
Great show though.
It's a good show, but it better be.
yeah, to sit through that. The highlight was that guy. I forget who it was that dove over me and D'Amato off the stage. Like we didn't even see him behind us. He just goes flying over our heads.
Just flies over your head.
The glass everywhere. And my selfie with Jeff Hardy. It was a great night. It was a good
night. It was a good time.
That's
my first time I ever got to meet Scott in person that night.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I guess that was only our second time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
From Pittsburgh and then that.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right.
So this is the first time you got to meet JR healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
until we walked into Harpo's and that none of us were
once every 10 years we hang and go.
The funny thing is, I think when we met in Pittsburgh, I had like a 6th grade son, and now I've got a grown man.
Oh, I know. Like I wasn't ready for it when he was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like,
"Hey, what's going on?"
With tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, jeez. I didn't think I realized it was him at first.
Right.
Man, definitely bigger than Willie, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, me too. I'm like, where did this come from?
All right.
All right. So anyway, as you see on the video and as you hear on the audio now, Jordan Duncan is here. We're excited to have him. Lucky to have him, really.
Yes, so lucky
to be able to book a star like this on this night. So for those that are maybe new to this concept, we're called it Making Towns here on the PTB Podcast. We invite a guest on. The guest picks a town that means a lot to them, and then a wrestling match from that town. We're going to live watch the match at the end of the episode. We're going to talk some historical wrestling news, some historical pop culture news, and then we'll get into the match itself. So, Jordan, tell us the town you picked and the match you picked and why.
Well, lifelong Michigan person. I've lived in Michigan my entire life, so there's really only one wrestling town to choose from there, and I went with Detroit. Just because that's my neck of the woods.
You didn't pick Bombay, Michigan, and Sabu match?
For Bombay, home of Sabu.
Yeah.
There's Grand Rapids. They did some in your houses back at Saginaw. I could have done Jeff Jarrett and Shawn Michaels, right? I think Saginaw. I've never even been to Saginaw. I've lived here. I'm 44.
No, Saginaw.
Go to Saginaw over the next year and document for us, please.
Okay.
Be your first time.
Yeah, right. But so also too, like with Detroit. When I started thinking like wrestling from around here, I think a lot of people who aren't from here think of like WrestleMania 3 and stuff, but that's Pontiac, and that Pontiac and Detroit are like an hour apart. A lot of the pay-per-views back in the day was in Auburn Hills, which is like the palace is long gone. It's destroyed. Nothing's ever there anymore. So I was trying to think like what was actually in Detroit. Like you got Ford Field, which you guys have been to. Didn't want to pick anything from like 5 months ago. Or WrestleMania, I guess WrestleMania, what was it, 22? Was it Ford Field?
23. Yeah,
23. So I could have done that one.
The Joe.
But that's what I go to is the Joe. So I'm like, okay, what's a Joe Louis? And I guess what came to me wasn't really something that was famous, but infamous immediately. So we're going to 1995, baby. Yeah. When you say Joe Louis Arena, pro wrestling 1995, I think one match comes to mind. Whether we want it to or not. We got the giant Hulk Hogan.
In the wrestling match, not the
not the driving off the roof.
Yeah,
which is funny, Jordan, because you were only 1 month after the Saginaw in your house, so you were very close.
See, I mean, look at all this great
that
stuff
was in
we were
September.
getting back
So, there you go.
the fall of '95.
Hey,
Michigan.
enough of this. I liked Detroit. I had a good time in Detroit. I liked that downtown area. It was really cool.
It's awesome. I loved it too.
It's an amazing setup for like if you're a sports fan and you're bouncing between games or whatever. Ford Field was gorgeous. I like
when they brought in
nice.
LCA, which was a few years ago at this point. That's the first time in my life that all 4 Detroit teams actually play in Detroit now.
Right.
Because Auburn Hills, the Pistons, was probably 50 minutes away. Pontiac Silverdome was a ways away, and now all 4 teams play
right there,
right in the heart of Detroit. So
that's awesome.
Which is 15 minutes from my house. So bonus for me. So I get to see the Pistons anytime I want.
What the fuck? Yeah, well, you'll be the only one there right now.
Cheap.
I think I'm starting tomorrow night.
No, it's a beautiful downtown. You got the Fox Theater right there, and
the Opera House is pretty nice.
There was. I mean, JR. I mean, we were walking around. I mean, there was live music at like 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was hopping like right out of the gate that Saturday.
No, I mean you couldn't beat the setup, right? We went to a ball game, 8, and then we went right to the stadium for SummerSlam, and it was like all in one shot. So
nice breweries, good restaurant. No, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I liked that.
But then there is Harpo's, and that's another part of it. That's
when you drive to the outskirts. The outskirts still could use some work.
Right, correct.
You could still be dead in a ditch. But but the downtown.
This segment was brought to you by the Detroit Department of Tourism.
Yes,
be sure to check out Plan Your Next Vacation, Detroit, Michigan.
Go to American
Stay
Coney.
within a 3-mile radius.
Yes,
yes.
We all lived. We're fine.
Right.
Yeah, we made it back.
No, we were good. The hotel was far enough away.
The Greek food was awesome. That restaurant.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one did you go to? Do you remember?
Scott.
I'll look it up on Facebook as we're
there's
talking.
A lot.
I'll find it. Yeah.
It was. I feel like it was a famous one. D'Amato picked it, so you knew it was gonna be like a famous good one. But
I was talking to a buddy of mine who lives in Detroit now, but lived in Tennessee and California like most of his life, and he's dumbfounded that we have so many Coney Islands in Detroit because
I went to American
New York thing.
Yeah, I went to American Coney Island. Great dog.
And what it is a lot of Greek immigrants who came through New York, settled there, and they were in New York for a bit, so they called it their Conies.
We went to Pegasus Taverna.
Oh yeah. Okay, the big white building, right?
Yeah. Pegasus Taverna in Greektown. Yep. The food was, JR, remember the table? It was just loaded.
Before, it's pretty good.
Yeah. No, the food it was delicious. Everybody had a good meal. It was very good. Yeah.
All right.
Scott's dressed up to impress me.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like he's going to Tigers fantasy camp.
Yeah,
I am. I'm learning pitches from Mark Fidrich.
Yeah, there you go.
While we're on shirts, I will give the shout out. My Atom Bomb shirt, courtesy Tim Slonka, Secret Santa gift. I love it. I also mail grab at one point. He got me this awesome Akeem little mug. Cup thing, so I'll grab that in a second
really cool.
and show it off.
And a Repo Man Akeem like Moo
the whole thing, the hat.
Well, this jersey was from that day because we went to the
Mickey 24.
Yeah, that was like they did the
farewell tour. Yeah,
Latin. It was like Latin Day, so it says Tigres, and it was Miggy and all the other guys. And let me tell you something, Co-America, beautiful ballpark, great place to watch a game.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium.
Great food
court. That was good.
Yeah, and they beat the Rays and freaking what's his name, Savali.
On the way up, we talked Pistons. Tigers are moving in the right direction. They're not there yet, but
we ran into that guy, the one that at GCW got his eye cut or whatever. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Then we saw him at the Tigers game the next day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Was it his eye or remember something? He got hit in the front row.
He
got
busted in the face. He's all bloody.
No, it was his eye. It was right above his eye. He had a cut. He had a bandage on. And they were like, "Do you have any?"
The next day.
Then the guy say, "Do you have any band-aids?" And they're like, "Here, have 17 cocktail napkins."
That's the second time I saw that. In Providence, a girl in right near the aisle standing up because we were in a place where it was all standing, and she got laid out on like a plancha, and she was really hurt. She got wiped out hard. They had to drag her back to the office, so they were trying to take care of her. But
that's kind of awesome. Just throwing T-shirts at her. Here, take what you want.
At that point, I was like, whatever. I stood at the ring for the Osprey match, so that was an
awesome.
all-time moment.
That's really cool.
All right, so let's head back in time.
Sure.
We're gonna go to this week in wrestling history, October 29th, 95. Scott's going to tell us about what was going on out in the house show circuit or other cards that week, and then we're going to cover off on some insider news.
Cool.
And I'm going to go off
Yes.
camera for once. I get my Akeem tumbler. I'll be right back.
Awesome.
All right. Well, he's doing the Akeem Tumbler. Let's take a look at what was going on in this evening, October 29th, 1995. Well, we all know what was going on in WCW, and that was this pay-per-view, which we'll get to in a minute. The WWF, Jordan and gang, they had 3 house shows, because if you remember...
All right, hang on.
Incredible.
That's very nice.
Okay. Yeah, what a great gift giver, Tim Slomka. Yeah. Anyway, Scott, continue.
Okay. That's okay. Nah, had to give a minute to the African Dream. So, as JR remembers, and as all of you listeners and viewers remember, when we were doing the 08, 09-ish run, there was a stretch when we were going back to 1995 when WWF was in very dire straits. They were canceling house shows because they didn't have any main events or whatever. So on this night, WCW, of course, had Halloween Havoc from the Joe. The WWF had 3 house shows, all in Canada. And
night, huh?
yeah, one was in Prince George, British Columbia. One was in
George, British Columbia.
Yep, he is Prince Aaron George.
Yes.
Prince Aaron George. Yorkton, Saskatchewan, and Selkirk, Manitoba. And all 3 of them got canceled due to an injury to Undertaker and the lack of a main event. The main event was supposed to be...
So was he scheduled to main event all 3 of them?
At least 2 of them. Night? He was supposed to main event, according to the history of WWE.com, our good friend Landy. He was supposed to wrestle Isaac Yankem, DDS.
Yankem, not Yankem.
Yeah, main event anywhere in the country.
Yes, and apparently he was hurt. Was this when? Is this when Mabel fucked his eye up or whatever? Right? Wasn't that one? That must have been this. So all 3 of those shows were canceled. So
wow,
that's not good.
So
the WWF was.
Just imagine living in Saskatoon in 1995 and your heart's dead set on seeing Isaac Yankem and you.
I mean, listen. We laugh, but there was probably some kid that had never been to a show and was heartbroken to not see that show.
Right.
I mean, that's obviously a bullshit excuse, right? They just probably had no.
They didn't get.
They probably drew nothing, no advance, and we're like, screw this. We're not going through. All
that's exactly
rough.
What it was. That was exactly what it was. Meanwhile, I'll just give this part of the show. I won't give the full pay-per-view, but they did have the live episode of Main Event right before the pay-per-view. Bischoff and, of course, Dusty was on commentary. Here were the main event matches. Eddie Guerrero pinned Disco Inferno with a Hurricane Rana. Paul Orndorff pinned
Disco Inferno.
Yep. Paul Orndorff pinned the Renegade at 123. Wow. Prior to the bout, Orndorff's theme music repeatedly skipped during his entrance.
Mr. Wonder. It's like early Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah. I feel like 1 minute and 23 is still way too long for those 2.
That's a lot. Is that when he wins the? Does he beat him or did Arn beat him for the TV? No, he beat Arn. Is that where wonderful?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say it's for the TV title, so. It didn't say it was. It just said twice hitting the power.
I think he's the one that ends his reign. I thought, or maybe not.
Yeah.
I know Renegade definitely beat Arn.
So in '96, you got Conan and One Man Gang have it. Like that's like early '96.
Yeah, Suzuki Sasaki wins it in '95, right? Because he loses the gang
near the end here.
Yeah.
So by this point, Renegade might have already lost it. Late October.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Well, he gets. Well, it does say here that Orndorff had to pile drive him twice.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. So
going
because he needed to keep the match going because it kept saying wonder.
Done the front. DDP beat Renegade.
That makes it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we were talking U.S. title, Jordan. Those are the U.S. champions.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah. Conan and One Man Gang were U.S. champions.
When you said that, I just realized when you mentioned One Man Gang and Sasaki, I just realized that was a U.S. title.
So TV title went to Renegade at the Bash, DDP at Fall Brawl, Johnny B. Bad at Halloween Havoc.
Yep. Okay.
And he holds it to Luger beats him.
In January,
they traded back and forth, and then Luger holds it for a while.
Well, yeah, then Mero leaves and goes to WWF.
Yeah.
Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko defeated Lord Steven Regal and Dave Taylor at 8:41. That sounds like a banger.
That's probably awesome.
That might have been one of their first matches, right? Probably not.
October 95. I mean,
Right?
yeah, within probably one of their first matches tagging together. I think Benoit was there a couple months earlier.
Yeah. And Sergeant Craig Pittman defeated VK Wall Street after Jim Duggan interfered.
God.
What a great main event. So that was the main event that was live right before the pay-per-view went on.
Oh, wasn't it on the main event as well when Hogan, or is it the beginning of the pay-per-view when he burns the dirt sheet?
That is World War III.
That's World War III.
Yeah, that's
World
next
War. Yeah, when he's got those like maroon boots with the. He was testing out how he'd look in black.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, although we see it tonight, like with the eyebrows and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. Now, the night before, and JR would know this very well because he covered this way back with Jenny, and I think you still had D'Amato at the time on Extreme Three-Way. But the night before, on October 28th, 1995, at the ECW Arena, the following card happened. Axel Rotten pinned Dudley. The Pitbulls defeated Tony Stetson and Don E. Allen. The Eliminators, I love the Eliminators, defeated Taz and Rick Steiner.
Oh, Steiners have a fun little run there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Team with Taz stuff. They have some cool matches.
Rey Mysterio Jr. and Conan defeated Psychosis and La Parka via countout. That's on Rey Mysterio's DVD. Johnny Grunge pinned Stevie Richards. Pre-match stipulation stated the loser would have to wear a dress. I'm going to skip the next match and go down to the last few. JT Smith pinned El Puerto Ricano. Hack Myers. Hack Myers is like the Iron Mike Sharp of ECW.
The Shaw.
Pinned Dances with Dudley. The TV champion, Too Cold Scorpio, pinned ECW Tag Team champion Rocco Rock at 24:54. Due to pre-match stipulations, Scorpio won the ECW Tag Team titles by himself. And then in the main event, or the last match, Tommy Dreamer pinned Cactus Jack. Now, the match I skipped, Mikey Whipwreck, and probably one of the most emotional moments in the history of the promotion, Mikey Whipwreck defeated, it says pinned, ECW World Champion, the Sandman, to win the title in a ladder match at around the 7-minute mark with a splash onto a ladder, pinning the champion underneath after repeatedly hitting him with the ladder. The match could only be won by a pinfall or submission. Oh, okay. Forgot about that.
Yeah, they didn't hang the belt. They just used the ladder as a weapon.
Yeah,
so the world title match is 7 minutes, but Rocco Rock gets 25.
Yeah, I know.
They had to fill the time on the back end.
Yeah.
But this sets up this. Oh, good. Yeah, go.
I was going to say, during the ring introductions, Steve Austin came out,
Yep.
of course,
the
the awesome orange tank top, climbed a ladder, which was set up in the ring, and cut a promo on the challenger, champion, and woman, saying he would soon have the belt. Immediately after the bout began, Austin threw women over his shoulder and took her backstage. After the bout, Cactus, Axel Rotten, and several others came out to congratulate the new champion. And that match is actually on the Rise and Fall of ECW.
Yeah, it's a great moment. And
famous.
it does set up the three-way later with Austin. Mikey pins Austin, which is
That's
crazy.
I know, right?
Sandman in there. So
I think
that's a great
jumps
moment.
out
Great
to me,
stuff.
I don't remember Conan in ECW like at all.
It's brief. It's
I
brief before he goes to WCW. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not for long. He's not.
Because he's in
long.
WCW by like early
soon.
'96. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
quick stop.
Yeah. So that was the night before, the 28th. So there's your wrestling around the world on this date, October 29th, 1995. Now, JR, I know we covered the Herbs back when we went through this window in the last formatic. But you have a special gift for us.
No Herb here tonight. Like you mentioned, we're in our previous run. We were kind of going through 95 on the Herb notes. So instead of repeating those, thought we'd pull up a little breakdown from the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
All right.
This is courtesy a poster from Reddit from 7 years ago, but it's October 23rd, 1995. We'll hit a couple depending on time here. Let's see how we do. After only 3 weeks in charge of creative, Cowboy Bill Watts has already gone from the WWF after an argument with Vince McMahon over future booking. Vince had openly promised he wouldn't overrule Watts' creative decisions, but that didn't last long because Vince couldn't help himself. Word is Watts also wanted to make changes to the locker room like he did in WCW with fines, no faces or heels hanging out in public, etc., and Vince felt that was unnecessary. For now, things will go back to how they were before Watts. I think that Watts' booking in general is probably better than whatever they had going on 95. I do agree with Vince that like that shit is completely outdated by 95. Like, face and heels not riding together and like that. I mean,
this isn't AWA 1977.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Shawn Michaels was involved in a fight in Syracuse, New York, where he was beat up and hospitalized.
What?
There's several versions of the story. You might not have heard of this before.
Was it Jim Boeheim?
You might not have heard of this. Was he picking his nose as he was kicking? There are several versions of the story going around, but what is consistent among all of them is that Michaels, Davey Boy Smith, and the 1-2-3 Kid were drinking at a bar as they're leaving an altercation with a group of 8 to 10, who, depending on who you believe, military servicemen. One of them called Michaels a slur and threw a punch at Kid. At one point in the fight, Michaels had the car door slammed on his head and his face smashed into the bumper. Smith and Kid tried to intervene and also got beat up when an off-duty cop showed up and drew his gun. Everyone scattered. Smith worked the show that night, but had cuts on his face and a messed up eye. Kid wasn't injured, but also worked the match. Shawn Michaels was hospitalized, both eyes swollen shut, side of his face badly bruised and swollen and bruised, and blood coming from his eye and ear. He needed 10 stitches above and below his eye to sew his eyelid back on because it was nearly ripped off. He also may have suffered a ruptured eardrum. Fortunately, he did not suffer a concussion or any broken bones in his face. He was released from the hospital and flew home to San Antonio. WWF acknowledged the incident on TV and said a police investigation was ongoing. The police in Syracuse have said they're not aware of it and nothing was reported. The incident could be problematic for the WWF for multiple reasons. For starters, Shawn and Davey Boy Smith hanging out wasn't mentioned since they're supposed to be feuding on TV. Smith still has a criminal case, but maybe Bill Watts was right. Smith still has a criminal case pending from a bar fight in Calgary. In WCW, Gene Okerlund teased in the 900 hotline about a scoop that a WWF star had lost a fight to a fan. Love it. It's actually the second incident with Shawn Michaels. A week before this, he was involved in an incident with the Blue Brothers in the locker room. Don Harris put a chair against the locker room door to keep anyone from coming in, while Ron Harris snatched Michaels by the throat and pinned him against a wall to threaten him. It was the brothers' last night in the company anyway, so they can't be punished, and apparently decided to put a scare into Shawn on their way out. Any thoughts on that? Before we hit
I'm just picturing them dressed in like their Viking garb doing that. Like how they had the outfits back there with the beards and stuff. Just
and they were, I guess, they were probably headed back to ECW because I think they go back as the Bruise Brothers.
The Bruise Brothers for a bit.
With Raven's Flock.
Do they lose the beards then? I think.
No, they still have all that. I think until they come back as the DOA.
Yeah.
Or the Grimm twins. I'm sorry, the first of the Grimm twins. But
I actually just saw something on Twitter recently. It was a picture of Davey Boy from that time, and it's like, imagine how crazy you had to be to fight this guy in a bar because he was just like so ballooned up. He
massive.
Was gigantic. Just
the number of guys that Shawn fought in that bar is like how heavy Andre was when Hogan slammed him. It goes from like 8 to 10 to 70 to the 42nd Airborne or whatever. It's got ridiculous.
The entire city of Syracuse at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dropping cars on their head. It's ridiculous.
No
Totally
consistency.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Undertaker will miss the pay-per-view. He's out at least a month with a broken orbital bone in his face when Mabel accidentally potatoed him in the face. Undertaker didn't know how serious it was. He worked a few more shows, but the pain became unbearable and underwent surgery last week. It talks about the New Japan UWFI show. Ricky Choshu. UFC has a pay-per-view in February. I'd say that's it for... Jerry Jarrett wrote a letter in the national newspaper defending the O.J. Simpson verdict. Says he believes Simpson committed the murders, but prosecution bubbled the case, and the jury was right to acquit him. Thanks for weighing in, Jerry.
Yeah, right.
If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
Right.
The Gangsters have been fired from ECW after a recent incident with New Jack and have reportedly tried to contact Jim Cornette to go back to Smoky Mountain. Given the things they've said, that is unlikely, and they are back in ECW pretty quickly. So I don't know. Was that the mass transit? It must have been.
Okay, so October 95.
Or is that 96, actually? That might be
Mass Transit's 96, I think.
Yeah. So he
November, it's the year later, November 96.
Doesn't get fired for that, but
All right. So I don't know what this one was.
That's
Taz did an interview talking about Lou Thez being his childhood hero. Blah, blah, blah. Austin cut another great promo in ECW this week, running down WCW, talking about his firing.
Yeah.
The problem is Austin had a second meeting with WWF this week and will likely end up being there. So that all this great work Austin is doing in ECW will go nowhere in the long term. Some are concerned about the future of ECW because so many wrestlers have been trying to get work with WWF and WCW. Tony Halm is in a National Busch beer commercial as a lumberjack.
Wow. Jeez.
I knocked down three.
Chris Benoit.
Is he going to drink orange juice like Steven Regal?
Yeah, he could. Chris Benoit is now being billed as a Canadian crippler in WCW. They made reference to starting a cruiserweight division. Dave is against the idea because it pigeonholes guys like Benoit and Guerrero to not be on par with main eventers. On TV, Sting and Ric Flair are teaming up with the plan being for Flair to turn on Sting. Recently, Sting had said he doesn't want to do that angle anymore because it makes his character look stupid. Dave thinks the best idea is for Sting to turn heel and Flair to turn babyface. Sting is iffy on turning heel and Flair is 100% against remaining face. So there you go.
Yeah.
World War III advertised as a 60-man battle royal. Dave is dreading it. Halloween Havoc is being papered like crazy. Free ringside tickets literally being given away at 7-Eleven.
Ringside.
Yep,
Wow.
there you go. Crazy.
I should have.
Meanwhile, Jordan, you're on your 11th Slurpee and you didn't get any freebies?
I know, right? Gosh. I got tickets to the WWF house show. They got kids.
The Sheik is almost definitely going to be accompanying Sabu. Hogan cut a promo on Nitro saying he's so powerful he makes other promoters cry. He says he's bigger than their whole stinking promotion, which is an obvious shot at WWF. I never thought the guy could get more unbearable. This one I find interesting. Jim Ross was doing an Okie gimmick on Superstars with a cowboy hat, and he seemed uncomfortable doing it, which is crazy because it's, 2 years later, it's full-on gimmick, full-time.
Right. That's who he is, yeah.
King Kong Bundy will be on an episode of Married with Children this week. It's a
okay. I remember that. Yeah.
And WWF is basically dropping the women's division. They are negotiating with All Japan to send Alundra Blaze as women's champion and have her defend the belt in '96 and occasionally have her on pay-per-view, so it won't go away completely. And of course, it will for other reasons.
Yeah, sure. Well, give it 3 years.
Yeah, I think we can probably wrap there. He goes over it. The next week, he goes over some of the stuff. Actually, this is a fun one. Let's hit this really quick. The In Your House pay-per-view, this is from the next week. The In Your House pay-per-view ended with Vince McMahon throwing his glasses down in disgust, saying, horrible, immediately after the show went off the air.
Horrible.
The show ended with a pull-apart brawl between Diesel and Bret Hart, with Diesel, the guy Vince is trying to build a company around, getting booed out of the building. Between injuries to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, Watts quitting, his top babyface champion getting booed, poor house show attendance, and one of the worst pay-per-views in history, Vince would love to take these last 2 weeks back. As for the show itself, Dave says Fatu did a good job carrying Helmsley in their match, and they're obviously protecting him for the future. The babyface champion Smoking Guns were also heavily booed. Goldust looks like a banana with black ears. Mabel versus Yokozuna is a strong candidate for worst match of the year, as Yoko is pushing 700 pounds. Razor made it obvious he wasn't even going to try to have a match with Gene Douglas. And the hottest match on the show was a dark match between Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler.
Wow.
We'll hit one more note here. As WCW has finally fired Vader. The official reason is that they've canceled his contract due to a shoulder injury, preventing him from wrestling. But the real reason is due to the backstage fight with Paul Orndorff. Legally, WCW can't say that because Orndorff has egged on Vader rather than trying to quell the situation. Every promoter in the world will have interest in Vader, but word is he plans to take a few months off, get his shoulder fixed, and return in 1996. Best bet is that he ends up in New Japan or the WWF. The shoulder was injured at Bash at the Beach in the cage when Vader went for a sloppy senton off the top rope. It was originally supposed to be Vader debuting a shooting star press, but Vader thought better of it because of where Hogan was laying. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Vader also, Dave, and maybe Vader, gave the Ray versus Psychosis match in ECW 4.75. So there you go.
Is that the one with where somebody got powerbombed in a car hood?
That might have been. That was the Mexican street fight. I don't know if that's this
He
one.
gave that 5.
Did he?
The street fight.
That's one of his 5 stars. Is the one on the car, I think.
All right,
Yeah.
so that'll do it for our old school vintage wrestling report, Scott, and we'll now head over to your vintage pop culture corner.
Wrestling was bleak, so hopefully pop culture.
It was very bleak, so pop culture was a little bit better.
Golly, man.
All right,
Let's
so
pray.
go ahead and bring that up.
Well, let's pray that it was all a fantasy, which is the #1 song this week in 1990.
Mariah in the house.
Fantasy by Mariah was #1. So let's hope all of this crappy wrestling is a fantasy. So that is #1. At #2, we have Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio from, of course, Dangerous Minds. Runaway by Janet Jackson at 3. Kiss from a Rose from Seal from, of course, Batman Forever at number 4. You Are Not Alone by Michael Jackson at 5. As I Lay Me Down by PTB Podcast.
I don't know if that's a good thing. You're not alone.
You are not alone. Is that the Free Willy song?
No, that's that was a couple years earlier.
Do we really have to talk about You Are Not Alone with Free Willy while talking about Michael Jackson? Really? Oh my God. As I Lay Me Down by Sophie B. Hawkins. Oh my God. At 6.
That's a great 90210 song right there.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Tell Me by Groove Theory at 7. Only Want to Be With You by Hootie and the Blowfish at 8. Back for Good by Take That at 9. And at number 10, Carnival by Natalie Merchant.
Okay.
I don't remember
solid top 10.
I don't remember 9 or 10 at all. I don't remember those songs at all.
You would know
Carnival
you
vaguely.
Yeah, you would know Carnival,
Okay.
JD, if you heard it.
Steve Willie probably has it right now on his walk.
Yeah, he's probably
totally
listening to it as we speak.
Oh yeah, that's totally his vibe. Oh yeah, Natalie Merchant, 10,000 Maniacs, totally the Steve Willie vibe.
It's his faves.
So.
The 98 that we had a couple weeks ago was an awesome top 15. This top 10, this has got a couple hits, but kind of shaky.
Yeah,
Coolio, really carrying away.
Yeah, Coolio. Yeah, the 98 one had. Oh my God, the 98 one had
loaded.
It had a ton of good R&B and hip hop and Shania. So Backstreet Boys was solid. All right, let's go now from the radio to the big screen. What was going on movie-wise in this weekend? So this would be the weekend of October 27th, 1995. The top 10 at number 10, To Die For. At number 9, Never Talk to Strangers. Never Talk to Strangers at number 9.
By
Number
Michael
8.
Jackson.
Yes. Because You Were Not Alone with Free Willy.
Right.
Number 8 is Assassins, the Sly and
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. Number 7, Number 7, How to Make an American Quilt. At number 7. Number 6, 3 Wishes. Number 5,
That's the
7.
Aladdin sequel.
Yeah,
3 Wishes.
With Aladdin, I was going to say Sinbad.
With Prince Aaron George.
Yeah.
At number 5, 7. Not starring Dustin Rhodes. My name's 7. Number 4. Now. Number 4. Now and Then.
Now listen, I'd name my kid Mug if it was this mug. Mug Costanza.
The top 3 from this weekend were all first weekend debuts. Number 3, Copycat, with I think Sigourney Weaver was in that. Number 2, an Eddie Murphy special, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And at number 1, Powder.
Oh God!
Oh wow!
Powder.
So you make the spoon. Yeah. All the spoons hit the kid.
Make this all disappear.
Yeah.
So
Copycat was Copycat the one where she was like afraid to leave her house, like she had agoraphobia.
I thought Copycat was that Sigourney Weaver? I thought she was a detective, or maybe she was a profiler.
Copycat.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is time.
All right. Well, hang on. I'm gonna look at.
I think she was like a detective who like was afraid to leave her home for whatever reason.
Solve mysteries from home.
Something like that. Maybe I'm. There was definitely a movie that involved that. Yeah, I've been rewatching Monk on Peacock.
It is. Yeah, she played an agoraphobic criminal psychologist, Helen Hudson, in the movie Copycat.
Listen to me. Yeah. Look at that.
There you go.
16-year-old me, big into Sigourney Weaver flicks.
I felt bad there too. There's a girl in college that was like super pale with blonde hair, and I definitely called her Powder more than once. We were friends.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh, that poor thing.
Powder.
All right. Why don't we leave this topic and we'll leave the theater and take the field.
All right. So we did not have our NFL picks last episode because we were not in football season.
Correct.
About a month and a half ago, we tied, me and Chad, 9-9. Mm-hmm. The next time out, me and Steve Riddle tied 10-10.
Wow.
So it is 19-19. Jordan, as we head to this week in the NFL 1995. Are you
I
ready
feel
to
like you might take a substantial lead here.
Okay, we'll see. You never know. I mean,
Because
we
we don't
got
know.
a 50-50 shot in every game, buddy.
Sure.
Yeah, and this may have been JR may have forgotten. This might have been a week that we have already done. So
Yeah, there's no way I remember. I can
So
go
this is
through.
week 9. This is week 9 of the 1995 season. So so there was crazy games going on and a Monday night game, of course. So we'll begin at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, where the Falcons host the Dallas Cowboys. JR.
Oh, I remember this now. Definitely not. I'm going to say Dallas is still at the height of their powers here, and the Falcons have much going on. So,
Okay.
how about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
JD?
When I think 95, my first thought is that was during the Cowboys' reign, so I'm going Dallas.
Yep. Emmett rushed for a $167. Cowboys 28. Falcons 13.
Okay.
Jordan, what we didn't disclose is whoever wins this tonight gets that 5th pick of the dynasty.
Yeah,
draft.
there we go. Well, I traded mine, so
Oh, fuck. Well, whoever you traded it to, we gotta let them know that pick is now up for grabs.
Maybe.
Yeah, that pick is now up for grabs.
That's why I gave it to.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have the Battle of Ohio at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Bengals host the Cleveland Browns. JD.
Okay, 95. Oh. I don't remember Cleveland being any good at all then. I'm going to go Bengals.
Okay.
I feel like the
Good.
Bengals were dog shit too during this time.
Yeah, but I think they might have been like playoff-ish.
Yeah, this is right. This is Belichick's second year, or is he?
This was
gone?
the last season in
This
Cleveland.
is last season there. Yeah. I'm gonna go Cleveland.
Okay. Eric Zier rushed through for 300. I think it was.
I don't even know what team that was.
I know. I still don't know who won.
Like, that doesn't help.
rushed through for 310 yards. The Browns win in overtime, 29-26.
Never go against Bill.
We go to the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. The Colts hosting the Jets. Jets. JR.
All right. So this I know. The Jets are not very good in 1995. 100% positive for that. They would end up with Keyshawn Johnson, I believe, for the draft the next year. So I will take the Colts at home.
Okay.
Yeah, 95 Colts. So we're pre-Peyton. Are we looking like Jeff George at this point?
Harbaugh. I think it's Harbaugh.
Is it Harbaugh? Okay. I'll go Colts too. I'll trust that the Jets sucked.
Okay. The quarterback for the Jets on this day, the Bubster, Bubby Brister, threw for 154, but the Colts win 17-10. If you remember, JD, the Colts made it to the AFC Championship.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They had that miracle win, and then they almost beat Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
they knocked
they
off
threw
the Chargers, I think, right in the
Yeah,
round before.
and then they threw a Hail Mary that was barely dropped
Yeah.
in the end zone. So, do you remember who the running back was, JR, for the Jets?
Was it Adrian Morrell?
He did, yes, indeed. He rushed for 68 yards.
I feel he's the guy I was like, I really loved, and then they get Curtis Martin, and then he it was almost like a poor man's Mattingly with the Yankees. Like just before they finally break out, like Morrell carried him through a lot of shitty years.
And Curtis Martin makes everyone forget
And
about
then Martin just comes in and it's like takes over, and that's it. Morrell's gone.
Yeah.
And he went to Arizona, I think, after that.
All right, let's go to the Silver Dome in Pontiac,
it. Okay.
where the Lions host the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
JD.
I mean, 95, the Lions were not abysmal. I mean, you have Barry,
still
you got
okay,
an
right?
offense, but Green Bay was,
Emerging.
yeah, I think it's got to be the Packers here.
Okay. JR.
Yeah, they were finally coming around. They started making the playoffs consistently and chipping away. They were like the mid card guy who slowly where it was like a real work their way up scenario.
Right.
Like they started turning around, then they make the playoffs, and they make the title game, then they make the Super Bowl. So I'll take Green Bay here. But yeah, this is I feel like this is Detroit's last kind of good year. Maybe 97.
Yeah, 97 they
were.
were decent. 95 they were okay.
Okay. Brett Favre threw for 304. You said Barry. Barry and Emmett rushed for the same number of yards on this day, 167. Lions win!
Yeah.
24-16. Herman Moore had 147 yards receiving. I don't know who your
My
quarterback
boy.
was. Was it fat fuck Scott Mitchell?
Yeah, it had to be Mitchell, I think, in
Yeah,
96.
or Kramer, I mean,
95.
like the only ones around then.
Let us go to
Scott Kramer, the ass man.
yeah.
Eric Kramer. Was it Eric Kramer? Or was it
No, it's Eric Kramer. Scott Kramer, Eric Kramer. Let's go to Foxborough, to Patriots. I think it was just called Patriots Stadium. I don't think it was called something anymore. Who cares? It was a shithole anyway. The Pats host the Carolina Panthers, JR.
Oh, Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers, baby.
Evan Green. Let's see. The Panthers. This is their expansion year. Yeah. I think the Pats are starting to figure it out. I'll go with the Pats.
Okay.
Am I down one here in the scoreboard?
You're down one. Yep.
I feel like
you go opposite. You're about to be down
I
two.
feel like I had to go opposite with you, but not on this one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not picking the Panthers. I'm saying Pats.
Kerry Collins threw for 309 yards. Panthers win in overtime.
Whoa.
Jordan, you moron.
Dang,
Panthers 20.
That had to be one of their few wins. I don't think they won much that year, right?
Panthers 20, Pats 17 in overtime.
They couldn't have had many wins.
Yeah.
That's the second quarterback that's thrown for 309. Oh, no. Favre's 304.
304.
Yeah.
Yes. But the highest yards of the day so far, Eric Zier of the Pick Your Team with 310.
Someone in Ohio.
I was saying, one of the Ohio teams that wear orange.
Yes. Yeah, right. Let us go to the vet in Philly. The Eagles host the St. Louis Rams, their first year in St. Louis. JD.
Okay. Man, this is a real blind spot for me. Like mid-90s, one, I wasn't even huge in the NFL at this point. Like I'm more of a basketball guy, and I mostly just followed the Lions, and so the Rams and the Eagles aren't on my radar at all here. I'm just going home team, and I'll say Philly.
Okay.
I'll
JR.
take the Eagles as well.
Eagles win 20-9.
Okay.
All right.
Did St. Louis suck that year? I don't really remember at all.
I don't think they're that good. And the Eagles, I think they had Cunningham.
I mean, not for like another 4 or 5 years,
Still,
really,
yeah.
for the
Yeah,
Rams.
no, the Rams, this is their first year in St. Louis. So
I don't think they're good until the Kurt Warner year. Like I
That's like
think they're-
99, 2000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're like crappy.
Chris
till then.
Miller was their quarterback. That tells you that. So,
Chris.
and I think Isaac Bruce might have been a rookie, or maybe a second year, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we go to Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Steelers host the Jacksonville Jaguars. JR.
All right. There's no way both these teams won this week.
Yeah.
I will go with the Steelers.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm like, okay, I'm not picking against Jake. I know he's going to pick the Steelers here, so.
And you're correct. Steelers win 24-7. Let's go out to Tempe, to Sun Devil Stadium. The Cardinals hosting the Seattle Seahawks. JD.
Okay. 95, Cardinals, Seahawks. Okay, I'm going to flip this coin here. Hang on. Okay, I flipped it and I forgot to call it, so I just flipped it for no reason.
Whoever's heads.
Yeah. Cardinals, baby.
All
Give
right,
me the
all right.
Cardinals.
I'll take Seattle.
John Freeze was the quarterback for
Mr.
the
Freeze.
Seahawks. Mr. Freeze, chill out.
Long.
He threw for 205. Cardinals win in overtime, 20-14.
Coin never
Let's go
lies.
down
Overtime game, huh? Is that 3 overtimes?
That is the third
That
overtime
game-
game of the day.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Let's go down to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, if that's what it was called in 95. The Dolphins hosting the Buffalo Bills. JD. Oh, sorry, JR. This one's yours.
It's a tough one. I feel like the Bills are starting to come down from relevancy, though, here a couple of years after the last Super Bowl. Miami home of Marino, I feel like you always got to kind of go that route, so I'll take them.
Yeah, I'm thinking same thing. Marino's still there. Bills are past their Super Bowl years. I'm going Dolphins.
All right, well, Dan Marino does throw for 232. Dolphins win 23-6. Let's go down to the Astrodome in Houston, where the Oilers host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. JD.
Tampa Bay. I couldn't name a player off Tampa Bay in 1995, so give me Houston.
Okay.
I'll take Houston, too. You know, I think Tampa was getting frisky a little bit with Vinny. Is Vinny a quarterback here? Or is that the year after?
Tampa? No, he's gone. I think he's in Cleveland
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
because he was Baltimore's first quarterback the following
Yeah.
year.
All right.
And then 2 years later he's with you.
Houston it is.
Okay. Chris Chandler's the quarterback for the Oilers. He throws for 167, and the Oilers win 19-7.
Well, they win with 167 passing yards.
When you hear these
Exactly.
old score, when he reads them, it's crazy to
Yeah.
me what was like good passing back then. It's
Right?
like
Well, even
Yeah.
like, oh, Dan Marino passed for 230.
Right, yeah. And now you get
Yeah.
roasted if you're over 230.
Right.
Zach Wilson throws for 230. He's the
Yeah.
worst quarterback in history. You know?
Yeah, right.
Let's go to Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The 49ers, your defending world champions, host the New Orleans Saints. JR.
I will take the Niners.
Yeah, same.
Elvis Gerback is quarterbacking. He throws for 243.
More than Marino.
Hunka, a lot of yards.
Final score, Saints 11, Niners 7.
Wow.
I feel like this is one of those episodes we had Bennett on where he picked this because he remembered the fucking game or something. He's like, I remember I was in my grandmother's house and, you know.
11-7. So is that a field goal and a touchdown with a 2?
Did they have the 2 pointer
Safety?
yet? It must have been a safety. I don't think
Mario
they had the
Bates. Mario Bates was the tailback for the Saints. He rushed for 106 yards. Anyway. All right, let's go to RFK. 'Cause I think they were still there. I don't think they moved to FedEx. Did they go to FedEx Field yet? I don't think they did. Let's go to RFK Stadium in our nation's capital, the Washington Redacteds, hosting the New York Football Giants. JR.
I'll take the Hogs.
Hogs.
I think the Giants are pretty bad in 95.
GD.
So who's the home team here? Washington?
Washington. Redskins.
How many more games do we have to choose?
Just pick a team.
Okay.
It's like who wants to be a millionaire over here?
Giants.
It's all kinds of strategy.
I'm tempted to go.
You don't get to call Steve Willie for a pick.
Saints upset San Francisco. I don't think. I'll stay Washington. Washington.
Okay.
Was a solid run.
The high passer of the day in yards, Gus Farrat,
Yeah.
Us, baby.
345 yards.
Woo!
But the Giants win. 24.
Come on.
Oh, I was so close. I was gonna do it.
Giants
Who was
win.
their quarterback?
24-15.
Brown? Dave Brown?
Dave Brown probably, or Kent Graham, one of us.
Or
one of those.
Cannell?
Yes. No, Cannell wasn't there yet. Well, no, wait a minute. No,
I
it might
think
have
it's
been.
like 97.
Yeah, no, I think it's either Dave Brown or Kent Graham.
I think
one
that
of
was
those.
my chance to catch you there.
All right, Monday night at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, the Vikings host the Chicago Bears. JR.
Oof, all right. Vikings host the Bears. I usually go with the Bears at home, but don't think they're very good. And I think Minnesota in like that mid-90s stretch was playing pretty well. So I will take the Vikings.
Okay, JD.
I'm going Bears just in an attempt to catch up on points and make the tie.
All right.
Oh, we are
Warren
tied.
Moon.
By the way. You're going for the win.
Oh, we're tied? Oh, I didn't realize I caught up.
Warren Moon.
You're going to break the tie either way with that.
Okay,
so.
there we go.
Warren Moon was the quarterback for the Vikings. He threw for 252 yards. Bears win!
Ah,
14
That
to
one's
6.
for you, Steve Willie.
all right.
14
Did
to
Duncan see? You doubted yourself, and now look, you took
There
the
you go.
lead for the
Yep.
visiting team.
This
here.
absolves me for picking the Chargers in our season win total.
Very true.
All right. All right.
I
One more
am,
thing quickly.
Listen, I want someone to go back to find when we did this episode, like in the whatever review we did, and I want to see if I gave the same answers and if I said the same things. I'm really someone's gonna go back and listen for me because I'm really curious if I gave the same picks and gave the same rationale.
It sounds like a chat assignment.
I thought the Niners was like the biggest slam dunk one, and then they ended up losing that game. So
Yeah.
When he said that, I vaguely remembered it. Like I remembered
really?
being like the same level of shock, but I'm curious how I did if I did similar. So the final was 8-7.
Yeah.
there we go.
All right. Very quickly before we wrap up, the previous night, the Atlanta Braves won their lone World Series of the decade, beating the Indians 1-0.
The Guardians.
By the Guardians. Yet not then. By Tom Glavine. And now the episode of Beverly Hills 90210 took place the previous week, the 25th, 1995. It is season 5. Yeah, season 5.
Numbers.
Yeah, season 5, 90. What is it? 89, 90?
I don't know. Just read the
Yeah, season 5. The episode's called Violated. Just like JD has violated your internet.
All right.
Valerie accepts her marketing professor's invitation to. Yeah, we definitely did this one.
Yeah,
Accepts her marketing professor's invitation to a seminar. They have a drink afterwards, and the man tries to come on to her. He gives her a D on a midterm essay that he had seemed to like earlier, and Val suspects he is punishing her. David and Susan encourage Valerie to file a complaint.
David and
Val
Susan.
backs. Val backs down because she fears that the investigation will expose embarrassing information about her personal life. Meanwhile, Susan works on an expose for the Condor. Meanwhile, several of Professor Haywood's past victims come forward, and he is forced to resign. Meanwhile, Bruno, not San Martino, delivers a letter from Dylan to Tony, and the couple eventually reunite.
It's a Sacha Baron Cohen character, Bruno.
Yeah. Marchette sees Tony and Dylan on campus together and becomes furious. Tony ignores her father's ultimatum and decides to move in with Dylan.
This is all one episode?
Yes.
Yes. Kelly cuts Colin loose after learning that he acts as Claudia's concubine. Who would have thought we'd have the word concubine in this episode? In exchange for financial backing, Steve and Claire quarrel. After booking a motel room, he mistakenly assumes that she is responsible for some handcuffs and other sexy items that were left there, and she's offended by his thinking.
Come on.
Donna resists Ray's relentless attempts at a reconciliation.
This is season 6.
Season 6. So,
because 5 was Brandon and Kelly.
Right.
6 is Susan and Coked Out Kelly with Colin.
Coked Out Kelly with Colin. So, and that is your pop culture corner.
All right. So let's head to Detroit at the Joe, October 29th, 1995. And we do have some no's and notes like on the history of wrestling in Detroit, et cetera. But why don't we fire up the show and we'll talk about it as we go.
Sure.
So we're on Peacock, Halloween Havoc 95. We're paused at 2:14:30.
Yep.
Michael Buffer's in the ring. We're going to count us down and hit play in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so as Buffer does the intros, I'll quickly go through some notes, courtesy our buddy Steve Riddle. Detroit was a longtime home to the territory Big Time Wrestling from 1949 to 1980. Biggest star of the territory was the Sheik, who was part owner of the territory. He would hold Detroit's version of the NWA US title 12 times. Detroit has played host to 4 WCW pay-per-views, Jordan. Do you remember the 4? Obviously, we know one of them. Watching it right now.
Detroit, Havoc the year 94.
Yes, Auburn Hills, wherever.
Auburn Hills had a couple World War IIIs as well.
97 and 98.
Yep, I was at both of those, actually.
All right, there you go. Yeah. It also hosts 12 WWE pay-per-views. Okay, so it's got 2 WrestleManias.
Yep.
Which we know.
23
and 27.
It had the Rumble that Randy Orton won, which was 09.
Yep.
9.
3 Survivor Series. Do you remember the years?
No. Oh, 99.
Yep.
Where Austin got hit by the car.
Yeah, ones are really easy.
Another big one. Come on.
A big Survivor Series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on.
I don't know. I wasn't
91.
91 when Flair's first pay-per-view.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And then 05.
05. SummerSlam 93.
Yep. And
23.
Yep. Vengeance 02.
Okay.
Over the Limit 2010. Night of Champions 2013. Hell in a Cell 2017.
I was at Night of Champions 2013.
There you go. That was Brian and Orton, right?
Yep. And I remember Fandango was like the big thing.
Yes,
was a hot
he
thing
was
back
big in
then.
2013.
Was that awful? Was that the one with the awful Big Show? No, Sean's the ref, right? Isn't Sean the ref in the cell?
I don't think it was in the cell. I don't think.
Orton, that's just the next month after the cash.
Yeah, this is right after the cash in. Like right after.
Oh, Night of Champions. That's the one. Doesn't Big Show like run in and knock them all out?
No, I don't think so.
I don't really remember, to be honest.
I think Big Show, because it stays.
It's just the beginning of the Authority. So they screw Brian.
Yeah. It's right after Brian had beat Cena, and then they cash in. And...
all right. It also had
interference again. I don't know.
It also has Saturday's Main Event 10, which is a really great Saturday's Main Event. So that's March 14th, 87. That's the Battle Royal that Andre wins.
Okay.
Not they wins, but where he busts open Lanny Poffo with the headbutt.
Really bad. And I remember they have the stare down with him and Hogan, and Coco just tries to get in there and screw it all up. Yeah.
And that was with Hercules wins. And then Saturday's Main Event 32, which was 32. One of the later era ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's got to be a little more.
So that's
07?
06, March 18th, 06. That's the comeback one. Shane versus Shawn. Shane McMahon and Shawn Michaels in the street.
Oh, because it led up to yeah, that's right. Because it was leading up to Vince and
22. Yeah.
Vince and Shawn. Right.
Detroit had one ROH pay-per-view. JD, do you remember that?
ROH. No, but I did go to Bound for Glory in Detroit for TNA.
ROH was New Horizons 08.
New Horizons. Steve Willie and I did a couple matches. We did that show on an episode of Pot of Honor.
That's
We
cool.
picked a Detroit show.
I've gone to some Ring of Honor shows, but I don't remember.
Yep.
It would have been way before.
Who was the main event? It was Owens or Steen.
Yeah.
No, it couldn't have been Steen. That seems too young. That seems too far back. 2008.
Yeah.
Who would it have been? 2008.
I don't even remember Ring of Honor being
Nigel?
pay-per-view then. It was always just a DVD.
Yeah, their
Well,
pay-per-view
he
started.
puts pay-per-view, but I think he did this the last one too. I think it's just like the home.
Like a big
It was
show.
probably like the big event or whatever.
Yeah.
07 was when they
AEW.
started pay-per-view.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
07.
Were they on HD Net by then?
I
Is that why?
apologize then to Steve Riddle.
Yeah.
No AEW pay-per-views, but it did have Dynamite Blood and Guts 22 and Royal
was at that
Rampage
too.
22.
Yep, I was at that one.
A lot of TV, obviously. Good, Scott.
Any pay-per-views at Zeppos?
Harpo's, you mean?
I mean Harpo's.
One big notable TV show that I was at was when I almost chose this match was when Lex Luger beat Hogan at the.
Oh, I love
Nitro.
that one.
Oh, the 100th Nitro.
Yeah, that was at the
Yeah.
Palace.
I can't wait for that on Warzone. Like that's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, that was
Randy
a good show,
Anderson
too.
calling for the bell.
Yeah, because it was like everybody was expecting, and like no one was expecting the actual title change. They were
Right,
expecting
right.
The same old finish.
Especially that the week before the pay-per-view.
Right, exactly. So
So this feud began over the summer. The unknown giant began appearing in the crowd, reveals a new member of the Dungeon of Doom, dubbed Giant by Kevin Sullivan. Of course, he's the son of Andre. Hogan confronted the Giant in the dungeon at the Clash. Giant attacked Hogan after War Games, a fall brawl. Hogan started wearing the neck brace, and Sullivan just messing with him. So that's pretty much.
Hogan looks ridiculous here.
Yes,
He looks so old without. I didn't realize.
Yes.
I mean, he's old anyway, but he looks really old without the mustache.
It looks like when Uncle Leo got his eyebrows. You know?
So is this the mustache for Thunder in Paradise? Is that why he shaved it, or is there a movie here?
I mean, this might have been Mega Mountain around then too.
Right.
95? Yeah.
I mean, Thunder in Paradise is going on during this time
Yeah.
because it's in the early days of Nitro.
Yeah, because Vader was on that and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it really is the proto Hollywood look. He's
Mhm.
got the weight belt, the all black.
I mean, I've got my volume turned off, but he came out while Buffer was doing introductions and was on the mic screaming and yelling about something. So I don't know what that was all about.
I don't know if he was starting to just think about a heel turn here, and then he backed off. Maybe.
Yeah.
Feels like it's going that way. He's got the paint kind of mocking Sullivan. He's got like the black horns painted.
Yeah, because that's what Sullivan does. I mean, I get it. It's just he looks so stupid.
It's dumb
The
looking.
cowboy boots look bad. Like,
It's a bad look.
yeah, it's not good.
On the other hand, now Giant Paul White looks amazing here.
Oh yeah, he's so fit and thin. I mean, did you guys see him when he came back to AEW a couple months back?
Yeah,
that was a shame. Like,
yeah, his body, I think, is just. It's a miracle he's made it this far, doing all the physical.
I mean,
stuff.
he had the gigantus surgery that Andre never had.
Right.
So, because otherwise
I remember
body
the internet. The long rumored giant salt was.
Yes.
I think it was after this. I think it's more like 97-ish.
Yeah.
Like,
that he did it in the power plant or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been when Chad and I going through all this in Warzone, like 96. Like the back end of 96 into 97, he's one of our MVPs. Like he's awesome. Even mid 96 when he's the champion against Flair, when he wins the belt and all that, he's fantastic during all that.
Yeah. I mean, even this, like obviously it's infamously bad for other reasons, but not really him.
No.
I think.
No, I mean he was super green.
Yeah.
Like, he's still physically imposing and
I mean he's muscular. He looks way bigger than Hogan.
You can see why they did the Andre thing. It was like, it evolved Andre. Instead of saying he's his son, though, they really should have said something like, this man was raised to be like Andre the Giant. And he's the next evolution of Andre the Giant. His idol was Andre the Giant because he had the same affliction or whatever. Like, that would have been a better way to go about it.
Right.
Because everybody knew it wasn't him. Why is he speaking?
Right,
yeah.
Back in the day before
no
the
French
internet,
accent.
like,
It was stupid. Yeah.
Hulk is appearing to Hulk up out of a test of strength at this point.
They got Jimmy is all in black as well to match Hogan.
Yeah.
Sullivan's. I don't know why he had to wear the red singlet. Didn't seem necessary.
Did any other Dungeon members come out with him, or was it just?
No, it's just Sullivan and Giant.
Just Sullivan. Yeah.
I think we're going to see them all in a little bit.
Anderson doing some great refereeing there, really selling the.
And we kind of mentioned earlier, earlier in the night, we had the monster truck where Giant was pushed off the Cobo Hall
Yeah, yeah. Hulk Hogan literally murdered a man just 2 hours earlier, and he
And he
survived.
returns here.
Yeah.
Okay.
My brother was live in attendance at this show. He was never really a wrestling fan, but in hearing they were just giving tickets away, that's probably why he went.
Right.
He probably just got a free ticket because he lived downtown at the time.
Jordan, I will say I was a little disappointed. There was a match you didn't pick.
Yeah, which one?
Featuring
Andre,
the giant dad, Andre,
Andre versus Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. I was hoping maybe we could track it down. I feel
Yeah,
like that
right.
would have been the payoff to years of.
Listen, I have scoured history of wrestling, history of WWE.com to try and vindicate myself, and I think it was a fever dream at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never found evidence that match happened in Detroit. But that could have went down in PTB lore if you picked that.
I remember looking up house shows, and I found a house show because if in my memory it was a birthday gift, so it was like late October, early November, and I think what it might have been was like Warrior might have fought someone in the Heenan family, and then Andre got in there. Is what it probably actually did happen.
Well, listen, I love nothing more than myth busting your childhood memory. So let's see if there was a house show at that time.
Yeah, so I would have been. Probably would have been 1989, 1990, right?
Well, if it's Warrior fighting the Heenan family against and Andre's involved, it's 89.
Yeah. So.
All right. So let's check Detroit. All right. So we got a show in November.
Okay.
But neither
is it at Joe Louis?
Yeah, but Warrior's not there.
Okay.
Let me check. Nope. October. Oh, no, sorry. Hang on. All right. Detroit's in July. Nope. April. Warrior's not even there. Okay, so that's the 3 from 89. Let me try. I'll try 88. Just to see maybe they did something.
Warrior and Andre.
Wasn't 88 when he was doing the weasel suit matches?
Yeah, so maybe it's something. All right, so November, Warrior fights Honky. And that's
big clothesline over.
That's the only show they have in Detroit in 88. Only one house show.
Wow, really?
According to this. Let me see if they had anything. Auburn Hills has a couple shows. Would you have gone there?
We could have. We could have gone there. I mean, that would be the Palace.
Well, they have the first card ever held there is August of 88. And it's all Warrior Honky in the time frame that they're in Detroit.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gone to that.
I'll check early 90s just to give you a little hope.
Yeah, what's closest to like October 89?
Was that one in November and it had nothing to do with
But what was on that card? Let's see if it's anything I remember.
Okay, yeah, I'll go back in a second. So the one we didn't talk about earlier, the main event in February 90 was in Detroit. That's Hogan Savage with Buster Douglas.
Yeah, I did not go to that.
Right, and that's Warrior Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Andre's gone by this point, July of 90. All right, let me look at that 89 one quick. This match.
He's looking that up. I found the ROH show that we were talking about. It is called New Horizons. It was taped on July 26, 2008 at the Michigan State Fairgrounds Coliseum.
I've been to ECW there. Yeah.
And it aired on September 26th. We definitely did this this show, Steve and I. The main card was the Briscoes against Silas Young and Mitch Franklin. Eric Stevens defeated Ruckus, Delirious, and Shane Hagedorn in a 4-corner survival. Kevin Steen was there. He beat Necro Butcher in a no DQ. Nigel McGuinness defeated Castagnoli to retain the ROH title. How about this? This is 2008. In a dark match, Silas Young defeated Kenny Omega.
Wow.
In a dark match. Roddy Strong and Naomichi Marufuji defeated Chris Hero and Go Shiozaki. And in the main event in 24:30, Bryan Danielson defeated Tyler Black.
Okay.
So that was the ROH show in Detroit in 2008.
All right, here's the card from. It's the only one that's in the fall, and we're getting to the bear hug, so we get the big stuff coming.
Yeah.
The scheduled Haku versus Hercules match was canceled.
Dang.
3,400. Only 3,400 in attendance at the Joe for a matinee. Tugboat defeated Barry Horowitz. Ronnie Garvin defeated Greg Valentine. Bad News Brown beat Paul Roma, who's subbing for Hillbilly Jim. The Rockers defeated the Rougeaus in a best out of 3, 2-0. Jake Roberts beat $1 Million Man by DQ, and Macho King defeated Jim Duggan.
Absolutely none of that rings a bell to me.
Scott, I will say this: at that same day. Oh, actually, hang on. All right, one sec. We got a couple of things here. Shit.
Is Hogan giving him a
Breaks
titty
us up.
twister right
All
now?
right, Scott. Also on that day, there was a show in Hartford. Piper
Oh.
and Rick Rude in a lumberjack match.
Oh, okay.
But
fun.
I found something. I found a clue, Jordan.
Okay.
Also a matinee on that day. I don't know if you would have crossed the border.
Toledo?
Toronto.
I don't
Warrior
think-
defeats Andre the Giant in a steel cage match. Could this be it? Would you have gone to Toronto?
I mean, I've been to Toronto.
Would you have even known if you were in Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't even remember what I did 2 days ago at this point.
But I mean, I don't know. Would
I
you
don't
have
know,
gone
what
to
state I'm in.
Toronto over
Toronto-
Detroit, like on the same day, though?
For a birthday gift, possibly. I mean, that's like only like 4 hours for me.
Mr. Perfect beat Snuka. Martel beat Beefcake. Genius Jim Powers.
I don't
Brawler beat
remember seeing him in a
Alvarez.
cage, though, was the thing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the closest we've gotten. They
I-
also were in Milwaukee the day before Warrior Andre.
Yeah, I'm thinking what it probably is just the memory of going to a show as a kid mixed with the memory of seeing stuff on TV and just all, blending together.
They were in Grand Rapids, but they weren't there.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
Warrior
Grand
Andre in
Rapids,
Grand
we
Rapids.
wouldn't have gone. That's like all the way across the
All
state.
right, so there's a chance the only chance you have is if you would have gone to Toronto, you might have saw it that, and it's that same day, which is kind of cool.
I'll just insist on my mom that she needs to look up her credit card receipts for
Find out. Go back.
my
pour through
birthday,
them.
1980.
Did you go to Toronto?
I do know for my birthday in 1990, my gift was a birthday party with all my friends, and we got to order Halloween Havoc 1990, which was Sting and
Wyndham? No, Sid.
Sting and Sid with Wyndham as Sting,
Sid,
dressed
yeah.
as Sting. Yeah,
All right, so this bear hug has been interminable.
I know. Like he tried to pick Hogan up and ragdoll him, but like Hogan, I don't think he could
Right.
be ragdolled. Like I don't think his body could move like that.
So, this Night of Champions 2013, Daniel Bryan actually won the title at the end
That's
of the
right.
night. He beat Orton, but then the night after on Raw,
Who
Triple
went
H
to abeyance? Was that the abeyance?
No,
Yeah.
Triple H. Yes, Triple H stripped him because he thought that Scott Armstrong pinned the pin was too fast.
Yeah. Does that lead to Cena Orton unifying and all that? Isn't that whole thing with
that's in December. The next pay-per-view was Battleground, and that's the one where Big Show ran in and
Orton wins?
fucked up the. No, it ended in a no contest because Big Show chokeslammed.
Right. So does the title stay vacant until that unification thing?
No, the next month at Hell in a Cell, the one I was saying, Shawn was the ref.
Oh.
And then Orton won it there. Then at Survivor Series, I don't remember what happened at Survivor Series, but at
Isn't that when they do Punk,
TLC?
the Punk and Bryan they do the 2 3-on-1s? Is that Survivor? No, that's when they were together, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then at TLC is when they do the 2 3-on-1 matches, the Wyatts and the Shield.
At Survivor Series,
Because that's Punk's last pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
Until
Punk's last
January.
Yeah, Orton defeated Big Show by pinfall to keep the WWE title. Punk and Bryan beat the Wyatts, beat Rowan and Harper.
All right. So then it was Survivor. Is that Survivor Series or TLC? You're saying?
That's Survivor Series.
Yeah. Okay.
TLC
is when they did Punk versus the Shield and Bryan versus the Wyatts, right, or whatever.
Yeah,
It was like
and then
they both had 3-on-1 matches.
Yeah, and that's when they merged the belts.
Crowd's
Punk beat
actually
the
waking
Shield.
up here for the attempted body slam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
Punk
are.
Believe it or not.
Punk had a 3-on-1, and then
He slammed him.
the Wyatts beat Daniel Bryan, and then Orton and Cena combined.
Yeah, they had the
belts.
unification.
Yeah,
And then we saw them in Pittsburgh get booed out of the building. Cena and
Yep.
Orton.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, the crowd. I mean, the pop for the slam was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because as he's hulking up, I'm noticing no one's doing anything.
Right.
But then when he does the slam motion, they actually got up off their
That
feet a
boot,
little
that
bit.
boot was fucking terrible.
This one, crap is going down because he hit the big boot, he hit the slam, and when he does it and the match doesn't end, that shenanigans are about to happen.
Giant just looked up and then fell back down.
Oh God. I guess you could argue that he's in on it, so maybe it's okay.
Yeah. Here's Jimmy
Jimmy
turning
shows
on the
the ref.
Hulkster.
Yeah.
Hogan gets up immediately.
Well, it is
A
Jimmy.
belt shot. A belt. Yeah.
Come on, Hulkster.
This is the end of a pay-per-view.
Yes. Correct.
Like, and arguably it might be the better product at this time than WWF, which is really bad.
Well,
Like,
when you look, I'd have to look at me and Chad's grades on Warzone,
Yeah.
but I would assume this. I think show finished higher easily than In Your House 4.
yeah.
Because this did have some good stuff on the undercard, right? Because it's got the Sting Flair turn.
Yeah,
that match is pretty good.
Sabu and Jerry Lynn, which is like only like 3 minutes, but it's just
even
wild time.
even DDP and
Bad is
Johnny
good.
Be Bad at the opener is not that
Yeah.
bad either. Yeah, Diener and I watched this for the October Wrestle Tracks. We watched this show.
Oh, here he comes.
I said, "Hey, flat tire." Here comes the
Lex
Yeti.
putting in the boots. I like that we're almost approaching a Lex Luger renaissance in terms of people appreciating his greatness.
Yes.
Except
Again,
Mexico.
he's amazing in early '97 where we are in Nitro. He's so good. He's He's so over. Here comes the
Listen,
Yeti.
he's over. I mean, even as
God,
far
here
back,
it is. The Eiffel Tower.
I'm watching him in '88, and he's crazy over.
Who thought this was a good idea?
What
To have
what is
Yeti mount
Sullivan
Hogan from
doing with the
behind
fucking
and shake on
chops? What is with
What's
the
that
fucking
even supposed
chop?
to do to Hogan right there? Like,
What is he
Smother him? I
chopping him
guess it's
for?
trying to smother him, I guess.
Oh, this is when Luger turns on Savage.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
you might be behind Scott, but yes.
this is Ron Studd, correct?
Oh, maybe I am.
Yeah, it's Ron Studd.
Yeah. He clearly has no clue what to do.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
He's like, I'm a mommy. I'm a mommy.
Yeah, this is where Lex goes full dungeon here. And then, but he still is friends with Sting. Like, they still play that out.
Rax, Hulk, and
The Rack looked good. And
Yeah.
Savage. Oh, they're doing the dry hump to Savage,
I don't
too.
remember
There it
Savage
is.
getting humped.
Oh, Luger
Lot of
quickly broke it up and
Yeah.
put him in the rack.
Man, how big is the dungeon at this point? I mean, Lex was not fully, he was affiliated with the dungeon. He didn't
Right.
really join it.
No, it's like Brian Pillman in the Heart Foundation. Loose
Yeah.
affiliation.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you got
What's
the
funny is the
Yeti.
Luger heel turn is like not even. It just he just starts doing it. It's off camera. It's
Well,
Right,
it wasn't like it was already being teased quite a bit. Like, so it wasn't like a big surprise. It was like more like a confirmation.
right.
Because him and Savage fought earlier in the night. And Giants is crowning himself champion off of DQ.
And it doesn't Giant just take the belt like he didn't? There
Yeah.
was a no contest. He just takes the belt at this point.
Yeah, and then they put it into abeyance.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Detroit, the home of abeyant titles.
Yep.
the home of abeyances.
All right, well, that was the thing. We just do a couple of quick awards here, JD, as we wrap up.
Sure.
MVP of this mess, I think it's Giant. I think he looked pretty good. I mean, the only bad part's the never-ending bear hug, really, but I think he looks great. He looks cool standing over Hogan.
Yeah, Giant looks good. Is it Randy Anderson that's refereeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I might
Pee-wee.
go with him. You know, with no sound, he was doing a great job of selling like everything, and I just really noticed him as doing a terrific job. Look at that bump of the title belt shot too.
Luger was good too in the end.
I'll give it to Randy.
You good with those two, Scott? You good with
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Raid, I don't know, 1.5, I guess,
2?
something like that. Yeah.
Out of what, 1,000?
Yeah, we'll go 1.5. We'll go 1.5. I like the end.
I mean, honestly, like it's famously bad because of the run in.
Right.
Prior to that, it's just dull.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
a standard Hogan fare for the time. Like it's nothing offensively bad. Like I'd say 1, 2, 1.5 sounds right to me.
Okay.
It was just not interesting at all back then. Like,
No.
yeah, and this didn't help.
I mean, ECW was just running laps around all this shit. In
Yeah,
late 95.
yeah. I was thinking about this earlier today, like knowing we were going to talk about it, like trying to think of my fandom back then. And like,
Mhm.
I was pretty lapsed as a wrestling fan at this point, like 94, 95, 96, I came back. Like I was still keeping track because my dad watched everything, like everything. So wrestling was always on and I was aware, but wrestling was not cool at all in 1995.
I was all in.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, did you have friends who were into or no?
No.
See,
I mean, I had like 2. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that
not
was-
a lot.
that was
Yeah,
a big
couple.
thing for me. It's like
Yeah.
none of my friends watched at this point. So like,
I had a big crew. I was mostly
Outs-
watching ECW in '95.
and we
I
didn't
was
get
watching
ECW until like 97 on Pass Sports for us.
Right.
Like
I never
MSG.
had ECW until TNN.
Yeah.
But I want to say, like, I had like 3 or 4 friends. Maybe we were. I just as soon as I got into it, I never really lapsed. I mean, you know, there are times like now where like I don't really watch the TV, but I'm still in on it quite a
Yeah.
bit, right? So,
Yeah, when I say lapse, I mean I just wasn't watching as much. Like again, because my dad was such a fan. Like,
Right.
I mostly kept up with it, like reading the magazines, like in the bathroom, because we bought PWI and The Wrestler and Ultimate Wrestling, like all of the magazines and stuff. So I still kept
You knew what was
tabs, but
going on.
I just wasn't watching it really that much.
Like today. All right. So this is a great time, Jordan. It's always fun to hang out and have you here. We didn't really prepare any Dunkin's Donuts this time, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Maybe
Got
next
some
time.
Boston creams for you guys.
Yeah, maybe next time. Scott will be back in 2 weeks with a all new guest and an all new town. So that's exciting as we are here in 2024, churning along as always. So that said, we'll talk to everyone in 2 weeks. Everyone take care.
Bye.
Don't get yetied.
This is what I look like.